Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Crystal.
Okay. I want to speak to Felicia's earlier comments about the National Geographic's presentation by Spencer Wells and the fact that the genetic makeup, everyone comes from Africa or everyone starts from a Black person or whatever. I just, I understand that concept and I understand where you're coming from. I guess is part of the desire to teach people that we're all alike, but I understand that we may be all alike on the insides, but the fact that I have darker skin puts me at risk. It doesn't matter what the genetics say or what you're trying to convince me. I'm going to convince you through my actions that you are beneath me, period. And that's been going on forever. So we may know mentally, and we may know even through science that we're all alike. But because I have a darker complexion or a different skin tone, different features, then I'm going to train you that you are inferior to me. And that's what's going on. So we can speak and preach and talk about how we're so much alike all we want. What's going on is that I'm going to treat you as an inferior person or animal or whatever. And I don't feel women, mothers, people that give life, watch babies on the ground for 2 hours screaming for their parents. Who does that?
Right. But that's
Do you
learned
even
behavior.
think that they even thought, well, these people are just like me? Did they even occur to them that this could be my baby?
So
No.
I want to interject real quick. We know the nail. The nail is in this instance of watching the video is the actions of these police officers to these kids screaming, right? We know that. How do we heal through that? That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
How do we heal?
I was getting to that when saying to identify us as equals and identify us as the same. That's not a way that hasn't helped. I mean, and I think through educating, and I think in making people responsible to making them accountable for their actions and not giving them a blank sheet of paper when they come out. I mean, I worked in an environment where I understood the training that police officers they get, and it's almost like a brainwashing.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
It is.
So we have to unbrainwash them, or we have to not allow this to continue on. The training that they receive, it needs to be undone and redone. And so that's how we heal. We have to undo and redo. And we have to just find the audience and find we have to find a way to do that. And I'm not sure how to do it, but I do know that it needs to be undone.
Well, I again,
and even my heart has to be undone. I mean, I have to heal from this because just like we talked about PTSD, when I saw that, what'd you think I did? My body starts sweating, my teardrops start tearing up, my heart starts aching, I'm ready to fight. So yes. I mean, that's not going to stop overnight.
Well, again, that's what I said in the beginning. Our organization is not a quick fix. There are multiple nails we have to remove, but we have to start. Mr. Was it Allison? How do we heal when you're getting hurt? That's a good question. I will address that in a minute. But to go back to you, Crystal, yes, it is an institutional thing. Look at me. I love using myself as an example. I was in the Army. I didn't know how to shoot a gun till I had no idea what a gun looked like. The only time I knew what a gun looked like is when I saw a police officer when I was growing up in the islands on St. Croix. That's it. When I got in the Army, I held a rifle. I knew the first time to shoot a rifle. So it was institutionalized. I was shock and awe. Great expert, you know, worked with multiple units, criminal investigation, military intelligence, special forces. I was the guy. Was I one of the guys to do that you see some of the soldiers on television? No. I was institutionalized. Heck, I was a Maryland correction officer. Did I do some of the things that you see policemen do and correction officers do? No. And yet, what happened? On the way to college to California in 2008, I got one time I got pulled over in the state of Oklahoma. One time. State trooper said, hey, I pulled you over because you saw Maryland tags and you were following close. And he kept asking me, why am I nervous? Why am I nervous? I said, sir, I'm not nervous. I didn't tell him I was veteran. I didn't say I was anything. I was like, hey, I'm not nervous. I'm on my way to college. Here's my letter. I'm going to college. And then the last time he asked me, why are you nervous? I said, you know why I'm nervous? I'm nervous because if my mom in the Virgin Islands see me on the show Cops getting beaten by you, it's going to give her a heart attack. He laughed, didn't even write me a citation, and gave me a great speed to California. So again, how can we move? Most people, when you come to Black Lives Matter and other organizations, they believe in the shock and awe doctrine. I believe in it. It worked in the military. But after the shock and awe, just like in this video, after getting upset, you have to, like you said, Crystal, you got to pull out those nails. Start with the police. Start with the people that you vote for. Start in your circle, your neighbors, and pretty much start with yourself.
Yeah, with yourself, with your heart. Because that's really the only heart that you have control of right now, is your own.
Well, I'm the only Black person at my job, and I do not have a single problem giving information because I think some of them just have not heard it. Like what I was just telling you about,
Yeah.
We all came from Africa. We are all Black at certain levels. And like I said, I think a lot of people just don't know that. At least the people that I've talked to, I'm in Washington, D.C. That's Chocolate City.
Yeah.
But I think that everybody has a reach, in their circle. So if you can, if you can change some minds, like even at my job, I have been able to educate some people at my job. And, I think everybody has their own world. We got how many, 6, 8 people on here. So that's 8 people. And imagine if you're in your office, you got another even 8 people. And that little change goes a long way, I think.
Well, you're right. I mean, again, when you see kids screaming on the floor or on the ground, and you have a gun to that kid. And to this day, again, look, I said this last time in my discussion. I was born in Trinidad, and Trinidad is totally flipped. And most of the islands and most other countries are not in the process of American culture. In Trinidad, we believe that if that had happened in Trinidad, the entire island of Trinidad was shut down. I guarantee you to this day. We do not tolerate like that. Now, are we a third world country? Yeah, we're not advanced. I mean, we don't have space shuttles or anything like that, but we know about unity. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you in Trinidad and something of that magnitude happened, the entire country shuts down. Because you know what? One of the things that and I've said this, Crystal, one of the things that we were growing up to understand is believe in who you are, respect others, respect yourself, understand your culture,
what are you doing?
And advance yourself to the betterment of the country. So again, it went back to what I was saying earlier. If we want to put people on Mars and the moon, and we had not figured this out between us, we're taking the same stuff on another planet. And instead of watching a kid being held at gunpoint here, we'll be watching a kid being held on gunpoint on Mars. Because we have failed to address the issue of healing beyond racism. So as the time we have left, I really want to go in and as again, I give suggestions, I use myself. How can we heal beyond racism and discrimination? Pretty much discrimination. Sexism. How can we walk to someone, like Felicia said, talk to, I know being the only African-American person in your job, I know how that feels. I know how it feels to be working with all Black people and still feel like an outcast. Why? Because you're not from here. You ain't from here. You from the island, so you don't know. My wife is from here. My kids are from here.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if you're around all Black people and you're a Black person. When the system dictates how a person treats another person, then you're going to get the flux. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. So don't, it's not all racism. A lot of it is systemic racism. You're carrying out the forces that's already been in place to make you the underling. It happens. Black on Black, American on Caribbean, African on Black, American on African. It does not matter. It's the system. Just like Stephanie talked about the police, it's an institution. And it's through those institutions that it came from. And it's through those institutions that we have to cure it. And we, one person at a time, forums at a time, such as this one, communication, honesty, not feeling like to be afraid to talk, like Felicia. Everything working together will come together to end this racism. And having the empathy, the heart, like you said, we have to have empathy, and we have to be able to see, the other side. We have to see that some people can't learn anything. Some people aren't willing. Some people are willfully ignorant because they're in a good place and they don't want to have their mountain moved by your dissatisfaction or what's going on with you. So it's all forces. It's a lot of different forces that have to work together. That's the only way we're going to end it. We're not going to end it any way other way.
So, and thank you, Crystal. I want to address Allison's comment. She made a great point, which I want to go back to. She said, how can you heal when you're constantly getting hurt? Am I correct? Right? So how can, that's a good question. I mean, we know there's no magic bullet. We know it could be done. That one thing we do know, it could be done, right? Because now we're seeing that what happened with George Floyd, and I would say this over and over, I asked people, what was the trigger of George Floyd? Remember, years earlier, a young man went in a church and shot up a lot of parishioners, Black parishioners in the church. Protests and uproar, yeah, there were protests, right?
That could happen tomorrow.
That could happen tomorrow.
It didn't stop anything. It didn't start anything. This has been going on. It's going to continue to be going on. And everything that happened in front of the camera, in front of the whole world, yeah, we all marched together in different countries and came together. It looks like we were coming together. But did you see somebody? How many people have been killed the same way since George Floyd died?